We've seen the 4 standard English sonnets in part 1. Let's see here the non-standard forms of sonnets. And they are 6. They are non-standard because they deviate from the 4 recognized forms of sonnets we've seen. The first non-standard sonnet is the curtal sonnet. Curtal. The Victorian poet Gerard Manley Hopkins seems to have been the first to have used such kind of sonnet. The curtal sonnet is made of 11 lines, with the last line being a tale or half a tale, as is Hopkins' pied beauty given here for illustration. Look at the last line. Praise him is the tale. The curtal sonnet has 2 possible rhyme schemes as shown here. The second non-standard sonnet is the caudate sonnet or tailed sonnet, a verse form often used for satire or ridicule. A caudate sonnet or tailed sonnet consists of 14 lines, often of a Petrarchan sonnet form, followed by half line called coda, followed by a couplet called heroic couplet, and these may be followed by other tales and other heroic couplets. Caudate sonnets can be between 17 and 24 lines and have typical rhyme schemes. Look at Hopkins' sonnet, That Nature is a Heraclitean Fire. The first tale in the sonnet is any of him at all so stark, followed by a heroic couplet. Then another tale, Across my foundering deck shone, followed by another heroic couplet, and so forth. The third non-standard sonnet is the terza sonnet. This is an Italian form of sonnet composed of 4 tercets and a couplet. Its rhyme scheme is ABA, BCB, CDC, DDEE. Shelley's terza rima, shown here, is from his Ode to the West Wind, a sonnet sequence of 5 terza rima sonnets. The fourth non-standard sonnet is the stretched sonnet. Stretched. This is a sonnet composed rather of 2 octaves or 2 octets, making a 16-line sonnet instead of 14. Like George Meredith's Modern Love shown here, which is a sonnet sequence of 50 16-line sonnets or 50 stretched sonnets. The stretched sonnet rhymes ABBA, CD, DC, EFFE, GHHG. The fifth non-standard sonnet is the sonnet redoublé, which is also called crown of sonnets or heroic crown. It's one of a sequence composed of 15 Petrarchan sonnets. Each successive sonnet starts with the last line of the preceding sonnet, and the final sonnet ends with the line that begins the first sonnet, thus completing the circle. The last sonnet consists of all the repeated lines of the previous 14 sonnets in the same order in which they appeared, as is the case of Marilyn Nelson's sonnet sequence called A Wreath for Emmett Till. Look at Nelson's Sonnet 4, quoted here. The first line, Emmett Till's name still catches in my throat, is the last line of stanza 3, that is of the previous stanza. And the last line, her only child, a body left to bloat, is going to be the first line of the next stanza, that is of stanza 5 of the sequence. Sonnet 4 here of A Wreath for Emmett Till, which is, as I said, shown here, has a Petrarchan rhyme scheme, ABBA, ABBA, CDE, CDE. The sixth non-standard sonnet is the submerged sonnet. The submerged sonnet. This is a regular sonnet of 14 lines tucked into a long poem, as are lines 235 to 148 in T.S. Eliot's The Waste Land, given here for illustration. The Waste Land is a poem in 433 lines. Follow me for more on English literature.